Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Sports Trend. We are back with a little absent over a week. Then we're back with India and England T20 series. We were doing amazing with the PSL, but then, unfortunately, Kuwait got them and it has been postponed till June. But that's good news that PSL will be back in June. But we have a lot of things going on right now. India is playing with England as Afghanistan is playing with Zimbabwe. I think West Indies just finished with Sri Lanka, or maybe there's some games going on. So today we will talk about India versus England T20, which is tomorrow. We'll also talk about Pakistan squad for South Africa and Zimbabwe. Before that, I will be starting introducing. Let me introduce my co-host, Max, Mr. Max Jeff. Here you go. Max, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, man?
I
Finally, we
am
have
good,
some
good.
shows going
And
on.
with that, good to see Sultan Khan, Sajjad Mustafa. Somebody's voice is giving echo. So keep your mics off when you're not talking. Okay. And welcome back to Martin. Martin was, he was like really after us, like, oh, what are you guys not doing about England? And England is doing really good, beating the crap out of Indian T20 team. And let's see how it goes. Martin, welcome back, buddy.
Oh, Mr.
Thanks. Thanks for having me back. It's great to be back. It's good to see England playing again, and back to our stronger format in the one-day games and the T20s, rather than we won't talk about the Test matches, right?
Yeah. We talked about test matches and now we're back for the T20 and all the other things. So all right. First of all, just we'll take a very quick, everybody, hello, hi, everybody is doing, and then we'll have, presentation for today. Let's take the presentation today, and then after that we'll go back and we'll talk about different things. So let's just do that. And this is what happened today. Is Afghanistan beat Zimbabwe 198 for 5 and 150 for 7. I'm not sure. Has anybody saw any highlights or anything?
No, not today.
Not today. Okay, no, not an issue. But Afghanistan is doing really good. They did really good in test matches and now and it was a T20, right? So, and this is one of the very senior cricketers, Mr. Charles Shaukat Baksh. He just turned 81 day before yesterday on March 15th. So, Mr. Charles Shaukat Baksh, very happy birthday. He represented Canada in a World Cup, I think in '79 World Cup. He represented. There's only one ODI he played, but it was in the World Cup. So happy birthday, sir. Stephen Richard Wells, also happy birthday. He turned 47. So congratulations for both of them. And now we're back to Mr. KL Rahul. We'll talk about that. This guy is having a really bad time right now, but there's a lot of hopes with him in T20. Most unbeatable 50 plus scores, 50 of them by Virat Kohli and 49 from Sachin Tendulkar, the master. Most 50s in T20 international, Virat Kohli 26, Rohit Sharma 25, David Warner 19. Great highest individual scores in T20 World Cup history. Brendan McCallum 123, Chris Gale 117, and Alex Hale 116. So do you guys think this record will get beaten this time? Anyone?
There is a possibility that the way cricket is revolving and the game is getting faster and faster and then every series there's a new record.
Sure. Most one in a T20 World Cup history, Mahala Jayawardene, 1,016 runs. Amazing player. Leading wicket taker, none other than Lala Shahid Afridi with 39 wickets. And most dismissal in T20 World Cup history, MS Dhoni 32, Kamran Akmal 30.
Oh.
So I'm not sure if Kamran Akmal will be able to earn. I think both of them is not going to be able to add any in their total. Highest batting average, T20 cricket, minimum 20 innings. Virat Kohli 52, David Milan 51, and Babar Azam 48. So Virat Kohli already got. So who will win the match 4? We'll talk about this really quickly. And with that, it's end of the presentation. Guys,
So let's talk. So Farooq, thank you for giving presentation and like touching up base, like how many matches right now series are going on. We were off for at least couple of weeks, and so let me not waste time and take Martin on board. Martin, first of all, quickly 5 minutes for India England Test match, Test series. So Tanvi, can you mute please? Yeah.
5 minutes on the Test series. Well, the last show I did, we were just about to win the first Test, and everything was looking good. But I did say one thing at the time, which was England will win as long as Joe Root gets a double century every match. And it didn't work out. It turns out he was pretty much all of our batting lineup. So yeah, disappointing series for England. I won't talk about the pitches too much. India were obviously the better team. They had the better bowlers. Their batsmen weren't, they had one or two good batsmen, but they also struggled. So it wasn't a great Test series from quality of cricket point of view, but it was exciting at times, and pretty good for considering the circumstances we're in at the moment. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what maybe some of you guys thought from a more neutral perspective, but it's quite hard from an England perspective, get stuck in the heat of the moment.
So Martin, what do you think before I jump my discussion and take on board Sajjad bhai? And okay, let's I am holding that question for another 10 minutes. Let me take on board Sultan bhai and Sajjad bhai. Assalamu alaikum sir, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
So again, before we discuss T20 and before we discuss Test match championship, what do you guys think about India and England series? We were focusing on Pakistan and like PSL and everything, but we missed a great series with respect to bowling and with respect to the first Test match championship decided as well. So starting with Sultan bhai, yes, Sultan bhai.
Yeah, I think I was after the surprises, the way that the results are coming about. I mean, I had no doubt in the mind that India will definitely sweep because of the way the pitches are. Yeah, one match was like extraordinarily unexpected, but after that, what we've seen in the pitch, that's the Indian strength, and they have so much availability of spin options that I could. I mean, now the way it's going on, especially in the T20s, it's surprising to me. England is doing absolutely great, but at the same time, I'm a little bit concerned about India, but I am very certain that they'll bounce back. But as of now, what has happened, we haven't seen the match neck to neck. It's just that deciders have been one-sided, so that it's not becoming a very interesting T20. But let's see now, next two are very important matches.
Yes, Sajjad bhai, what's your intake on Test match? Like the Test series happened and the way Indian spinners bowled, and like after first or two Test matches, like after even first Test matches, like they bowled out. Your view right now. You're mute. No, we can't hear you.
Sajjad bhai, just log off and log in again. We're not able to hear you.
I think it's a good point. What was just raised there is we haven't seen any close matches between England and India. It's been one team wins by an innings or 200 runs, 300 runs in the Test series, and then in the T20s is the same. There's been a real lack of close matches, right?
Lack of close matches. Yeah, I think one-sided matches. All matches are one-sided. So Martin, again, once I'm like holding my discussion on T20 until I take everyone feedback on Test matches. So what do you think about Test match championship happening? Where it's happening, in Manchester or Oval?
It
Lords.
Looks like
Southampton. I think Southampton,
yeah.
right? Southampton.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be in Southampton because it's better for the like having to deal with the pandemic-related things. The hotel is a bit more manageable and all this kind of stuff. So I think that's a bit of a shame, probably for New Zealand and India to play at Southampton, but I think it's just the reality of where we are right now, right?
So can you hear me now?
Yes, just give
Yeah,
me a
you're
minute.
back.
I'm coming back. Sajad bhai, you continue your discussion. I'm just coming back in a minute, okay?
Sure. So what I was going to say is that I like the fact that there was some extraordinarily good bowling from both sides that helped the team win each T20. Usually batting wins a T20, but in this case, like I believe that Wood came back and helped them win the third one, whereas in the first one, I think it was Adil Rashid who helped them win the first one. In the case of India, yes, there was good batting, but I feel like their bowlers bowled a lot better in the second game, a lot better than England's bowlers, and they controlled the game. I have a strong feeling that India is going to come back very strong in the next game. I think it's tomorrow, uh, because it seems like they were chopping and changing. I think India should play their best team now.
Yeah, and I believe that they're gonna do that because tomorrow's match is a decider for India. If they lose it,
Yeah.
they lose the series. So they will come back with the stronger team that you mentioned. And I think that is why India sometimes struggle because they have so many good players, and they want, yeah. So sometimes they take a chance, and then it's just the overall chemistry of the team unit that sometimes does not perform to the potential. That's the only reason you can give possibly for the one of the best teams in the world right now.
Yeah. I also feel like this is a golden chance for both England and India to see how they would fare. Because what is it, in 6 months is the T20 World Cup, and these are two of the favorites, I think. Like I don't see too many teams better than India versus England for the final.
Mhm. Yeah, but I think we cannot underestimate New Zealand. The way New Zealand has been playing lately, and their team and the discipline they have and consistency. I mean, that definitely makes them one of the best teams as well. Yes, from viewership perspective and for the entertainment perspective, yes, England playing in England against India would be the best possible scenario. But the way things are going, it looks like less likely. Likely.
Yeah, well, Ben Stokes will be happy if any team that does not have Carlos Brathwaite is playing them.
Okay. So, okay, let me take. I think Abhi, I think is he wants to join us. Abhi, I think your camera is off.
Okay.
Okay, Farooq bhai, I think it's ID. You want to play ID time?
No, we go ahead. Keep continue. No problem.
Okay. Okay, let me take some questions, like the comments on it. Farooq bhai, did you play some comments or no?
No, not yet.
Okay, let's start. Vajat Fazan, good to see the group again. Thank you, Vajat Fazan. Farooq bhai, Martin Sultan, and hello guys. How about me, man? I mean, I'm
skip the host, eh?
nice to see Crick experts back to action. Yes, Siraj Musa, we are not expert, but again, like we want to have a good healthy discussion. So hopefully, good to see Sports in Canada. Okay, now here comes Max Jeff show again. Thank you, sir. Fawad Azadi. Assalamu alaikum, walaikum salam. I think he's commenting first time. I'm Aslan Sultan Bhai, and to all of you, walaikum salam. And
Salam.
okay, Vajaz Hassan. Has Dhoni officially retired from all formats yet? Martin, do you have? No, I think he's still playing IPL, right?
IPL.
Franchise, only franchise.
And internationally, he has retired.
He's retired from international duty.
Yep.
Okay, I think Abhi is here. Hi, Abhi. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, happy to be
Hey,
How are
here.
you?
Good. How are you guys? Long time.
Good. Yeah, it's been a long time. So, Abhi, we were talking about first. I think I hold this discussion India and England T20 series for now, but I was taking input what happened in the Test matches. And Martin said that it's good to see that all of these matches happening are one-sided. Whether when England beat India is one-sided, and when India beat England, I mean, what's your intake? Just focus on for next couple of minutes in Test match. What happened?
Yeah, I think it was interesting in that sense. Like, I mean, first of all, I don't think any of us really foresaw that after such a good Australian series, India will lose that first Test match and with such a big margin, right? And especially when when England was coming, although they did pretty well in Sri Lanka, I think the general mood was that given the form that the Indian team is, they at least I think pretty much everyone is expecting, if not a huge margin, but at least they'll win the first test. But I think it's typical uh, with India in the last couple of years that they have been like pretty poor starters in any series to start with. And I think that's one consistent worry with the Indian fans with the World Test Championship, that it's just one test match. So it's not a big runway for them uh, to get started on it before they actually start performing.
But
Okay,
if you
let me. Yeah, Sajad bhai. Yeah, go ahead. Then I will answer.
so tying into what Abhi Bhai was saying, when we used to have the legendary teams like West Indies and Australia, the 80s and then the 2000s, late 90s, they would win consistently. Like they would have these long runs. Right now we have the dominant team is India, but they seem to give a sniff or they'll lose a series or a test match here or there when you're not expecting it. I find that it's like there's sheer brilliance, but then there's sometimes they're like, there's some lulls as well. Like I was shocked when they lost to New Zealand last year. I don't think they should have lost over there. Or was it last year or the year before that? And this test was a real surprise. And I think sometimes it shows the temperament of the team. They're like magicians or artists, where they're going to have their ups and downs.
Abhi, can you hear us?
Yep.
So you were saying about the continuous legacy. When the teams are on top, they keep winning, not just, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so I think this is a bit different, right? Like in this case, you see almost always like, uh, I mean, to put it politically correct, it's like they need a shocker before they can start performing. So unless and until like it was either Adelaide or Chennai, unless you have a bad result, then it is like, guys, I think we need to start taking this seriously. Before that, I think it's almost like they end up taking it casually, and then they realize, you know what, we are better than this. So then they start putting in the right effort to actually make a difference. Like the Chennai match, right? It was almost like they were sleepwalking. Half of the guys were sleepwalking. Like, yeah, I mean, whether it was fatigue, whether it was they were not prepared, but it wasn't the India team that came from Australia. It didn't look like one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Sultan bhai.
Yeah, so for basically for the players, it's definitely there's a pandemic fatigue, and the other day Sajad bhai was mentioning in one of the shows. So it basically takes a toll on the players. It's very obvious. It's not normal circumstances, and they play a lot of cricket. They travel a lot. But what I was trying to pinpoint here earlier, that India now has such a brilliant and best ever bench power, and there are occasionally they have to make the adjustment to give these guys chance, and basically it just overall adjustment sometimes doesn't work for them. And then like Sajad was saying earlier, that tomorrow India is gonna come back with the strongest team that they think they have right now, and then they're gonna just they're not gonna look back from there.
Yeah, it's going to be 3-2 for India. That's my prediction. They're going to come back too strong for England.
Okay, let's wait T20 discussion. Okay, I'm coming over there. I'm switching my gear to T20s. I'm looking at Martin Ismail, but we will talk about it. So let me act like a typical media person, and let me take on board Abhi and Martin here. Martin, during test matches, I was watching some memes like Michael Vaughan like creating videos of those skip pitches. What's your intake on it? Then I will take Abhi's input.
Yeah, Sajad bhai and I are umpires today.
I'm even wearing the red shirt.
Yeah,
Siraj Musa will like that. Our friend.
Let's see who balls the bouncers and who balls the Yorkers today.
Yes, Martin.
If we want to talk about pitches, I mean, let's be honest. England lost the series because their batsmen were worse and India's bowlers were better. I'll start off by saying that for sure. But the pitches were a question, right? I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, you can't blame the pitch 100%. But after the first test match, India fired the guy that made the pitch and got someone else to do the next one. So that's a sign as well, I think, right? It was like the first pitch, they were like, oh, this isn't what we wanted. So the next pitch spun a lot more, right? So, but in the end, England couldn't deal with it, right? And you had two quality bowlers in Akshar Patel and Ashwin, then England did not. You have to adapt, and England in the end didn't adapt to the pitches. So, I mean, the pitches weren't great, and you could see that from the length of the test matches, right? But also England weren't great. But I mean, I'd like to watch India's batsmen bat against their own bowlers, because in the series, India's batsmen were pretty poor as well, apart from maybe Rohit and Pant. The rest were pretty average as well. So it was, I don't know. There's been a lot of banter about the pitches, which has been very funny to watch. But I think it's more, you got to talk about something.
Yes, I mean.
Yeah, I think so. I have been following cricket for a long time, especially the Indian team, right? I think there's two factors at play here. First of all, I think the Indian team has made a consistent effort in the last 10 years to actually get good at playing pace, right? So the BCCI has invested in making sure that they get the ground that actually have pace and carry. I mean, I come from Mumbai, originally from India, and our pitches used to be like dust balls forever. Like that was a general pitch that you get. The soil, like pitches are basically they are a depiction of the local conditions. If the local conditions is red soil, loose soil, that's always been the case. There's a reason why Perth used to be having a good pace and carry, right? And that's what it is. Like that's the beauty of cricket. Like if you go to a different geography, the conditions are different. You get different flavor of pitches, soil, and good batsmen need to adapt to it. I mean, they cannot keep on complaining about the conditions, because that's what differentiates a good batsman versus an average guy. Like an average guy can be a home bully, but once your technique is questioned when you land in Australia, it doesn't work. You can't complain that, guys, it was fast for me, I couldn't adjust, right? So I think in my view, that's key, especially at this level. I think the pitch should be out of the equation. Having said that, I think as Martin said, right, like the Indian batsmen were not too great either, and the only reason I think is because India's focus on playing better on pace of wickets that basically help pace. So they have gotten good at it, but then I think they have gotten worse at playing spin, like even in their own conditions. Like if you see, like I think of all the batsmen out there, I think the only two people that stood out in the series was Rohit Sharma and Joe Root. And those were the guys who seemed to be the most equipped to tackle spin. Everyone else was, and although the pitches were not the greatest, I would say when you have this kind of a pitch, which starts spinning from day one or which starts seaming from day one, I mean, from my perspective, it almost it almost averages out the skills. So you might not have the greatest of the spinners, but he is able to spin it as good as the margins like gets less and less between a better spinner versus an average spinner.
Okay.
So it all comes down to that batsman skill then.
Okay, Sajjad bhai and Sultan bhai, I'm not gonna hold these guys because these guys are like played smart. They are like
they're both
guys. Okay, wait. Let me talk about to both of you, then I will take input from Sultan bhai, Sajjad bhai. 3 weeks back before this series, all those test matches are done at the 5th day last session India-Australia series. Both, even Sri Lanka test matches. How come and on earth that both of you guys are saying that pitch is not playing any role? Like, is the batting? No. Third or second test match, one test match decided in 2 days. Sajjad bhai, please talk about that test match happened in 2 days. How is it possible?
This is how I look at a pitch. Whether it seems that's fine. Whether it spins, that's fine. Whether it turns, that's fine. But if it's uneven bounce from early on in the test, I don't think it's a good pitch. But I would say that except for the second test, I think the pitches were fairly decent in this series. Second test, it was harder for the batsmen, and for both sides, like both batsmen struggled. But again, 1987, same day yesterday, a similar pitch produced one of the greatest test matches in history in Bangalore between Pakistan and India. Why? Because both teams batted well, right, in the second innings comparatively. In this case, India batted better on this pitch, and you're going to get these pitches from time to time. That's a fact of life. So yes, it was a difficult pitch because the bounce was a little bit of a challenge. But if it turns and it's even bounce, it's not a bad pitch by books. I don't care what anybody says. Turning wickets are a part of the game, and just because, like, I don't mind turning wickets, but then again, I'm biased. I'm South Asian batsman. As long as there's even bounce, the pitch is fine. But I felt like in the second test, that was not the case. I think it was really vicious, some of the bounce.
Yes, Sultan bhai.
Yeah, I would second what Sajad Bhai has said here. But the thing is that look, there's a reason why it's called test cricket, right? It's to test. There's no rush to score. You can take all the time. If the pitch is spinning, you go to your basics and try to stay on the crease as long as possible before you. And here and there, whenever you get an opportunity on a loose ball, you score. And that is where they failed. The surprising element here is definitely Indian batsmen should have been very, very equipped to deal with such pitches because this is their home. Bounce is a major factor. Sujata is absolutely correct on this. That sometimes the spin doesn't deceive that much because after playing few balls, you know how much is spinning and what the bowler is doing, and they can adjust to their guard and all the length they're gonna stand in the crease and out of the crease to counter that. But yes, bounce is something that sometimes it's unpredictable. It just you're expecting certain bounce and it stays low or up. That is where it's critical, and it could be any ball, and it's a surprise element, and then whoever gets the best of it wins, bowler or batsman.
Okay. So guys, let's talk about a T20 series. I think it's a 5 T20 series. Am I right?
Yeah, 2 left.
So 2 left. So first talk about the 3 T20s, like whatever is done, and then we will talk about the next 2 T20s. So Abhi, what do you think? Why? I mean, before we talk about T20s, why Kohli is like getting out on zero on duck? I mean, I never seen Kohli in my life before till last year, right? Hardly seen Kohli that Kohli gets out on duck, but this year I think already 3 or 4 times.
I mean, it happens with the best of us. Sometimes it's not your day. Sometimes you just get that ball that did. And I wouldn't judge Kohli on those ducks. And the only reason because whenever he's been on the ground and he's batting, you don't feel like he's out of touch. He's not connecting the ball. He's like if you look at like he might have been out on a duck, but then you see in the second innings he's as fluent as anyone out there, right? So those ducks in my perspective are like those are one-offs, and every good batsman are bound to get those peaches once in a while, like everything. And especially if you look at like the way Kohli batted in yesterday's game, I mean, it would be a shame if anyone would say that he's out of form. He literally dragged India from I think what was like 80 or 90 runs in total to like 150. The only reason India was able to compete in that game was because Kohli did his magic. He did what Kohli does best. He like took the game by the scruff of the neck and pulled it to 150. If it wasn't for Kohli, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have reached more than 120. So Kohli, I don't think is an issue at the moment.
So Martin, what do you think in England right now 2-1 because of their batting or because of their bowling?
Well, I mean, first off, I think Kohli might be a little distracted by having his first kid. Probably is, big life event. So these things add up. But I mean, he was still. You looked at him play in the last match. It's incredible player. It's fantastic to watch. But England have been bowling well. That's been the thing there. We pretty much, I think, summarised it well as we had before. Where it's like the batsmen have just been kind of average in this series. There hasn't been any batting that's won a game yet. It's really been bowling the batting's been solid or not very solid, but it's been the bowling which has been very sharp. You've had some you've had some good bowling from Wood, some from Archer, Rashid in the first one. So, and India have also been quite tight with their bowling, right? So I think it's been a series just like the Test series, which has been defined by bowling, not by batting. So
Sundar really bowled beautifully in the second game, and so did Thakur. To me, the bowlers are winning the games so far.
Okay, So let's go back to some comments. Then I will take your input on it. T20 as we keep discussing. Hamadin, thank you, Hamad. Keep continuously watching the shows and making good videos of crispy food. I am watching your videos. Yes, Martin, what your thoughts on rotation policy? I mean, I think England is the only team right now that using this term rotation policy and making the best of it. What do you think? Then I will take Abhi input on you as well.
Well, India did a kind of rotation policy in Australia. They just made sure everyone got injured and went home and had a rest. I mean, that seemed to work for them. But I don't know. I mean, it's the question with the rotation policy is why are you rotating people? So you're rotating them to look after the people, but also you want them ready for the key series. So the question that England need to be answering is, what are their key series? Because the way they sent home people in the middle of the India Test series makes it seem like that's not the key series, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, are they preparing? But now they've got a full strength for the T20 series. So, I mean, it's one point to have a rotation policy, but you need to understand why you're rotating. Which of the series are the key? I mean, if India Test series isn't key, then they never want to say that though, right? But the reality is they sent home players in the middle of it. So is that a key series? And there was some talk from the coach saying that, rotation policy will continue in the Ashes. Well, I mean, if you're an England Test team, why are you rotating in the Ashes? I mean, if you're going to have one series that's the goal to have all of your players fit for, you'd think it would be the Ashes and maybe even the T20 World Cup this year, right? So I think there's a bit of a, for the fans, it's a bit hard to understand, right? Like, especially after I think the thing is they had these plans, and then you saw the India-Australia series, and then suddenly, England-India became a bigger, maybe even bigger series than people thought, and so it seemed
Martin, I
unacceptable
think
to rest people.
Abhi, I will take your input. Just my comment on this. I think England realized in the second Test match that their chances of winning championship, going championship Test match, is next to zero, and they know the next World Cup is in India. So that's why they more focusing and keep focusing on T20 World Cup, because they lost to West Indies, I think, in last T20 World Cup, which happened in India, they lost the final, so they remember that game. So, Abhi, what's your input on rotation policy? Am I right? World Cup final happened in India, right? When West Indies beat England, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they remember, so they want to take that revenge back. That's why they are focusing hard on T20. Yeah, Abhi.
No, I think on Martin covered the England side of it. On the India side, I think most people might not be aware that this was the first Test series where Bumrah actually played in India.
Yeah.
Right. So like in the days past, we would have just a couple of seamers, and we would just bowl them to the ground because those two happened to be the best bowlers that we had in the country. And even if they were not the best, I think the management never wanted to take a chance on anyone else, like the Zahir Khans and the Nehras, and then they would just ball them until they all got injured, and then they were forced to bring someone. Versus, I think, I would say the thinking of the management team has matured to the extent that they know that every human has a limit, and if you're just going to consistently keep on balling that guy over and over again, he's bound to break. Especially with people like Bumrah who have like unnatural actions. They're not the cleanest actions. If you just keep on repeating over and over again, they'll sooner than later end up breaking down, right? So I think it shows maturity in terms of how the Indian team has at least been handling those guys. Australia was an aberration, I would say. They didn't have choice. They had to rotate it because they were. It was rotation without choice. But I think the good thing that India did in hindsight was to take a bigger contingent to Australia. If they had not taken that bigger contingent, then they wouldn't have had as many choices to pick from to start with, and they would have even with people with niggles and stuff, they would have been forced to keep on playing them over and over again.
Okay. Abhi, I don't know if that is the question that you would know the answer to, but let me ask because it's a curiosity. who defines the rotation policy? Like, is it a board? Is it the coach, or and it does it include the captain's input in it? Where does it? I mean, basically, what's the source of it?
I think the change has happened ever since I think Ganguly came into picture, right? So the captain's voice and the coach's voice became much stronger than the selectors. So it's literally now the captain and the coach going to selectors and saying, "This is the team, this is my methodology that I'm going to follow, and here's my goals for it," right? And I mean, it's no good if the team keeps on like the selectors keep on giving them players that are not aligned with what the captain or the coach wants to do, right? And that's one of the major reasons why you saw that Kumble was taken out, because
Cool.
Kohli and Kumble did not jive well. Like they were not on the same page with each other.
So Martin, does it hold the same for England, or it's completely different?
I think it's similar, yeah. The coach has more of a say in England, but yeah, I mean, the question also is like, if it isn't really about player, health as well, it really should take into account players' points of view. Although some people will never say they're tired, but also you should really give people a chance, because in the end it's their careers and their place in the team that you're actually dealing with, right? So it's a bit of, but also it's a bit of a balance, right? Because it's really tough playing overseas in these bubbles, right? Like and look at what cricket's lined up this year. Cricket schedules in international cricket are ridiculous at the best of times, and this year it's just like you've spent 2 days at home, I think, if you play all the formats, right? Sure. Like, how is that even possible?
It's like the office. It's like the office scheduling all these Zoom meetings that never used to happen this way.
Farooq bhai, I think it's ID time. Can you please take ID? Then we will continue.
Sure.
Crispy Foods, Sherban Juice, Evitel IP Solutions in association with Faisal Law Corporation, R6 Sports, Realtor Fahad Rao, with the support of M-Remis of Classic Honda, Pizza Karachi, Mississauga.
Cool. And I think we talked about a lot of things, and let's move to some interesting stuff, man. Let's talk about KL Rahul. What's going on with that guy? He had in last four innings, he had 3 ducks, one single score. But I was reading and listening to a lot of players from India and senior players. They are saying this guy has a lot of good future, and doesn't matter what the form he has, they will be continuing with him. So what do you guys think? He's going to play tomorrow, or there's one other guy who was in really good form but is not getting any chance. What's his name?
Mani.
Which one?
Which Manish? No,
not Manish.
I think he's playing. I don't know which one you're talking about.
There's another guy who's sitting on sideline, is not getting any chance. But anyhow, what about KL Rahul? What do you guys think?
KL Rahul.
I think if it's not working for him, and now the series is on the stake, I think they would. It's not that they're taking him out of the squad, but for tomorrow's game, probably they wouldn't give him a rest.
Yeah, bring back Rohit for tomorrow's game. That's what I'm thinking.
Rohit will be playing, right? He played last game.
No, I did he? Did he play the last game?
Yeah, he did play last game.
Okay.
So,
all right.
No, he will play, but I'm talking about KL Rahul.
I think Charan Yalala is saying Sky. Sky is the person on bench. I think I think Farooq bhai, this is the guy named Sky.
No, not Surya Kumar. Yeah,
Kumar. Surya is also a good option.
Or are you talking about Kishan?
No, Kishan is playing. So let's take input Abhi, because Abhi knows KL Rahul much more than closer than us. Abhi, what's happening with KL Rahul?
He was high school's friend, Abhi, right? No?
Just kidding, it's an interesting case. Before the Australia series, when the IPL happened, right? Yeah. KL Rahul was one of the chart leaders in the batting, by any means, right? He was the number one choice for the wicketkeeper and in white ball, and for the only reason because of his batting skills, right? So they were literally compromising on his wicket keeping skills because he's not the first choice keeper. So you can understand the kind of talent that guy is. It's unfortunate that, I mean, it's 3 games in a series, ducks, and then I think it starts playing with your minds, and then at that point, right? Like, you, for the life of you, you just want to get a single and get on with it, but seems like everything conspires against you to start getting out for ducks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how about if like do you hi Amir, welcome to the show. I think you are mute right now. So
आमिर म्यूट ही रहता है ज्यादातर.
so Sajad bhai, what is
शादीशुदा अफराद को पता है.
हाँ, बिल्कुल.
okay? So Martin, what do you think about two T20s left? Are you positive that England gonna win?
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll have a close game in one of these. Maybe it'll go down to the last over. I don't know. I really hope so. I think England are looking. I think we're looking good. We're batting's firing quite well. Bowling is looking quite good. I fancy our chances to at least win one of the 2 remaining games. Well, let's see about tomorrow's match. I hear there's some. It might spin a bit more, so they might consider playing Moeen Ali and having an extra spinner. So that might provide more challenge for England's batsmen. I'd love to see that, but yeah, it's looking good.
Okay, guys. For next 5 minutes, I will just talk about India and England. Then we will talk about our Pakistan team selection. So Abhi and Martin, if you want to stay after 5 minutes, more than welcome. But let's wrap it up India and England series, because I'm into discuss Pakistan.
Jeff, get your gloves on, Jeff, Martin, and
So Abhi, what do you think? Like, first, let's take a feedback on next 2 matches, which is gonna happen for T20. Are you positive that Kohli gonna score again and India gonna win the series?
I mean, they would try, but I think here's the thing that I think what they started with, right? They knew that this was the only series to try various combinations before the world. Like, India's not playing any T20s after this. Like, at least in my knowledge, for the international T20s, right? So they're actually using it as a litmus test in terms of strategies, in terms of players who are good, who are performing, like what strategies we can put, like can we play explosive cricket like England, which backfired almost like the first game. That's what they were trying to emulate, like the English one, right? And at the moment, I mean, England is the best team in T20, like no doubts about it. Like, they are the best team. So I mean, India, maybe because they have the talent, on any given day, they might be able to pull it off. But I would still say, like, on current form, I think England still is favorites.
Okay. So what about Abhi? I mean, why this series is like so long? Like, I mean, after I was looking the schedule, even 4 test matches, 5 T20s, then 3 one days. Don't you think like India wants to utilize best of it, and even England, like, top 3 boards are like, they want, like, because India is gonna have a World Cup and they want to just prepare and prepare and prepare.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's less about preparation. It's all about money at the end of the day, right? The more you play, the more you get, and especially with the COVID curtailments, like, I mean, they're just trying to make sure that they don't not only get the experience but also are able to have as many matches, because the revenues are affected, right?
Correct. Okay, last 2 questions on these test matches. Martin, do you think England have squad ready for the World Cup after looking this T20? Do you think they have a lineup?
Yeah, I think apart from maybe 1 or 2 spots, it's pretty much already set. The big question is, will Alex Hales come back? Probably not. And maybe that's about it, really.
Alex Hales' performance is very good in South Asian pitches, man. I mean,
it is. Yeah,
Martin,
even PSL was doing good.
Martin, we are going to prepare this pitch. We're going to prepare this pitch for England.
Looks like a good quality pitch.
No, so Martin, don't you think like Alex Hales have a chance? I mean, are you sure?
I don't know. I mean, no one knows anything about what. I mean, he took some drugs or something, got booted out the team, lack of trust, but that's it. We don't know anything else. Can that be patched up this summer? Sure. Things have been patched up a lot quicker than, things can happen, but Owen Morgan, it's all up to Owen Morgan. If he wants him back, it'd be nice to see him back, but if he wants him back, he can get him back. If he doesn't,
well, that's the thing that bothers me. He's being all inclusive and quoting that Allah willed our victory in the World Cup and all that stuff. But a guy smokes pot and all of a sudden he's, get him off the team. That really surprises me.
That's the reason he was.
Well, it was a follow up to the Bristol incident when Stokes and Hales were, mostly Stokes was caught beating up, but it was like the second incident, right, of breaking curfew and breaking the, this promise to the team. So there was a lack of trust. But I mean, it's been 2 years, so can that be rebuilt?
Okay, Abhi, last question to you on this topic. Do you think India have side ready for the World Cup, like at least 15-man squad?
I think the next 2 games will help some of it, but at the moment, I think they're still trying out the combinations.
Okay, I think they have a good problem to have it. I think they cannot manage it because they have too many players. I mean, and again, the man mentioned the name. This guy is a key for India in the World Cup. Trust me, India needs a good middle order batsman if they want to win the World Cup. I mean, and Sky he's gonna play like Suresh Raina or Dhoni role, in my opinion. But they are not utilizing it. I'm not sure. Okay, guys, I think then let's talk about Pakistan for next 15 minutes. Abhi and Martin, thanks for joining. And guys, I think we are gonna show again for next 2 games as well. So definitely, I will give you an invite, and then we can go from there. Okay, guys, thank you, guys. Good night.
All right, Martin. All right, Abhi. Take care, man.
Good night.
Hey, take care, guys. Have a good chat.
ओके जी सर सलाम वालेकुम जी। चलो भाई, आमिर भाई से स्टार्ट कर लेते हैं, और मेरे ख्याल से देखने वाले जो है वो डूज गेम शुरू होने वाला है। जी भाई, क्या कहते हैं आमिर? पाकिस्तान की टीम अनाउंस हो गई है साउथ अफ्रीका जाने के लिए। आई थिंक कितने 4 T20s हैं, राइट?
4 T20s हैं, हाँ। आई थिंक कुछ ऐसे ही है, 4 से 3 या 4 हैं।
Actually, I was trying to see the series details on.
अभी ये नहीं है, सिर्फ इस महीने के अंदर तो सीरीज नहीं लिखा हुआ है सिर्फ।
हाँ, अभी नहीं है, तो इस वजह से मुझे नहीं पता। लेकिन जो टीम अनाउंस हुई,
जितने भी जाने वाले थे ना सिलेक्टर्स के, हर बच्चे को चांस दिया उन्होंने।
लेकिन जो प्रोस्पेक्ट जो टीम स्क्वाड अनाउंस हुआ है,
3 वनडे और 4 T20, 3 वनडेज एंड 4 T20।
इसकी जो कोई लिस्ट है तो शेयर कर दें इधर, वी कैन पुट इट ऑफ, कोई लिंक दें ताकि हम उसके ऊपर फिर फर्दर बात कर सकते हैं।
जी, ये मैंने आपको लिंक दे दिया है जी, बिल्कुल। तो आमिर क्या कहोगे? चले आमिर से पहले फरूक भाई से ले लेते हैं। फरूक भाई की नजर जो है काफी तेज है। फरूक भाई, आपने एक बात बोली कि हर एक बंदे को चांस दे दिया गया, तो चांस किसको नहीं मिला?
यार अजीब सा उन्होंने हिसाब किताब किया है कि जो अच्छा मजे का बड़ा है, किसी ने एनालिसिस किया कि भाई जो बंदे T20 में परफॉर्म कर रहे थे उनको टेस्ट में डाल दिया, और जो टेस्ट में परफॉर्म कर रहे थे उनको बाहर कर दिया, और जो T20 में परफॉर्म नहीं कर रहे थे उनको ODI में डाल दिया। ठीक है ना, और जो कहीं भी नहीं थे उनको T20 में डाल दिया। तो मीन अजीब जो है वो खिचड़ी पकाई हुई है इन्होंने। और शोएब मलिक को बाहर कर दिया यार। मीन देखो,
मलिक तो पहले से नहीं है,
नहीं, लेकिन चांस ये थे ना कि आ जाएगा, खेलना
आ जाएगा, इसका चांस था।
लेकिन चलो शुक्र है हफीज आया है, सरफराज भाई हर जगह पे है, रिजवान भाई भी है, क्योंकि अभी थोड़ा गैप आ गया। देखो अब गैप के बाद वापस आएंगे ना, फिर पता चलेगा कि सर रिजवान जो है वो दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी हो जाएगा, और मजा आएगा ना साउथ अफ्रीका पे जब जरा ओपन करने जाएंगे तो फिर
पता चलेगा ना,
फिर पता चलेगा
जब वो ऊपर आएंगी।
वो अच्छा जाहिद महबूब गेंदें कर रहा था T20 के अंदर, उसको टेस्ट में डाल दिया यार।
हाँ यार, ये दिस इज शॉकिंग फॉर मी, नॉट सरप्राइजिंग, बट आई विल यूज द वर्ड शॉकिंग।
देखो जगह बनानी है ना उसकी, वो कादिर साहब के बेटे की, क्या नाम है उसका, उस्मान कादिर, उसकी जगह बनानी है, तो कैसे बनाते जगह उसकी? शादाब को वाइस कैप्टन बना दिया,
शादाब की जगह बनानी थी। अच्छा चलें बात कर लेते हैं आमिर से। आमिर, पाकिस्तान टीम में पहली दफा मैं देख रहा हूँ, मतलब जानबूझ के नामों को ऑलराउंडर डाला गया। यार पाकिस्तान टीम में ऑलराउंडर्स होते थे अब्दुल रज़ाक और अजहर महमूद, अब आप देख रहे हो नवाज, शादाब, आर दे ऑलराउंडर्स? मतलब किस बात का ऑलराउंडर्स भाई?
बनने की कोशिश तो कर रहे हैं यार, नहीं है तो क्या हुआ, बनने की ट्राई तो कर रहे हैं।
जिस तरह हम लोग एक्सपर्ट बनने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं ना।
नो बट ऑन अ सीरियस नोट मैं आऊंगा सुल्तान भाई सज्जाद आप ही से, मैं जरा आमिर से इसको इनपुट ले लूं। बट आमिर, डू यू थिंक कि ये लोग कहीं भी ऑलराउंडर कैटेगरी, ऑलराउंडर का मतलब होता है आपने कोई एक मैच जिताया बॉलिंग में 30 रन करके, बॉलिंग में 3 विकेट लेकर और बैटिंग में 40 रन करके, आज तक अब्दुल रजाक को इन लोगों ने बहुत मैच जिताए ऑलराउंडर कैटेगरी में आने के लिए। लाइक यू हैव टू परफॉर्म अ गेम विद बोथ ऑफ दीज स्किल्स। जी आमिर।
हाँ नहीं, ये इनमें से कोई भी मेरे ख्याल में नवाज के पास शायद 1-2 इनिंग्स हैं ऐसी, लेकिन फिर भी वो बहुत फार फेच्ड और फ्यू हैं। मेरे ख्याल में दानिश अजीज को आप कह सकते हैं ऑलराउंडर, क्योंकि वो डोमेस्टिक में ऐसा कर चुका है परफॉर्म, और अंडर 19 में भी कर चुका है। और फहीम
नहीं ली, उसने सिर्फ बैटिंग करता है वो।
बैटिंग करिए
हाँ, लेकिन अफेक्टिव आप इस तरह भी हो सकते हैं ना कि आपने रन्स उतने नहीं दिए, प्रेशर डाल दिया दूसरी टीम पे, दूसरी साइड से अच्छा बॉलर था उसने विकेटें निकाल दी, ये टेक्निक चलाता है।
जो ऑलराउंडर पूरी दुनिया में है, जो जिनको लोगों ने याद रखा है, सिवाय 1-2 के, लॉरेंस गिब्स हो गए या दूसरे हो गए, फास्ट बॉलर जो होता है ना, फास्ट बॉलिंग बैट्समैन के, वो ऑलराउंडर याद रखते हैं।
वो ऑलराउंडर कैटेगरी। स्पिनर तो मैंने नहीं देखा कि ऑलराउंडर कैटेगरी में
जो लोग याद रखेंगे वो रवि शास्त्री है। तो
वो है, उसको कह सकते हैं, उसको कह सकते
तो
हैं।
नैरेटिव भी तो चेंज करनी है ना, नैरेटिव भी तो चेंज करनी है। अब यही थोड़ी कि है वही फास्ट बॉलर ही चलता रहेंगे, जमाने बदल गए हैं यार।
अच्छा, आमिर भी तो स्पिनर है ना असल में, इसको चेंज करना है हमें भाई।
चैलेंज करने की बात आई जी। सुल्तान भाई क्या कहेंगे? मैं पहले जरा ऑलराउंडर्स के ऊपर जरा खिंचाई कर लें, फिर थोड़ी बात हम स्पिनर्स और बॉलर्स पर आते हैं, और फिर इमाद के ऊपर भी आते हैं, लेकिन इमाद का टॉपिक साइड में करते हैं। लेकिन जो सिलेक्ट किए, डू यू थिंक के मोहम्मद लाइक फहीम अशरफ को अलग ऑलराउंडर, शादाब को ऑलराउंडर, उसको ऑलराउंडर, फिर आप स्पिनर्स भी अलग से लेके जा रहे हो, फास्ट बॉलर भी अलग से लेके जा रहे हो, तो मतलब ये तो जगह बनाने वाली बात है।
नहीं, आपकी बात में बहुत वजन है और ये बात सही भी है। जो आपका जो प्रॉपर ऑलराउंडर होता है ना, पाकिस्तान के पास अभी वो नहीं है। वी आर स्टिल इन द सर्च। वो इतने ज्यादा इसीलिए रख देते हैं कि एक ही चला तो दूसरा चला लेंगे। देखें शादाब खान, अगर आप देखें, उसने अपनी बहुत कोशिश की है कि वो एज अ बैट्समैन भी रिकग्नाइज हो। ठीक है, वो अपने PSL में इसीलिए ऊपर आते हैं बैटिंग ऑर्डर में और सारा कोशिश करते हैं, लेकिन मेरे ख्याल है ही इज better off just focusing to be the one of the best leg spinner. अभी वो ये कि वो हमेशा ऑलराउंडर कैटेगरी में रहने की वजह से he is just concentrating both ends. मेरा ख्याल है when it comes, if he can hit few, he should just think of it. But जो नवाज है, अब नवाज उतना खेले नहीं हुआ है as compared to other, ठीक है ना? ठीक है, जिससे ये आमिर कह रहे थे कुछ innings हैं here and there, you'll find a little spark of it कि यार ये yeah he can. बट यार जो ऑलराउंडर आजकल जिस तरह की क्रिकेट हो गया ना, वो आप देखिए बेन स्टोक की बात करें, ऐसे वो दिस इज व्हाट यू कॉल ऑलराउंडर। ये नहीं है कि वो आए और ठीक है एक सीरीज 6 मैचेस में एक में 25 कर गया, एक में 30। नो मैन, दिस पोजीशन जो होते हैं ना 6-7 नंबर पे, ये तो मैच विनर होता है, स्पेशली T20 में। T20 पे आप टेल पे इतना रिलाई कर ही नहीं सकते। तो मैच अगर फंस गया ऊपर, 1-2 विकेट जल्दी गिर गई, तो आपका बड़ा स्ट्रॉन्ग 2 बंदे ऐसे होने चाहिए बीच में जिसको प्रॉपर ऑलराउंडर के, वो नहीं है पाकिस्तान के पास। हाँ, आई सी द पोटेंशियल, नॉट सी द पोटेंशियल, आई वुड पुट इमाद वसीम इन दैट कैटेगरी।
भाई चला ही नहीं उसको, इसीलिए आपने पोटेंशियल रखा था ना, उन्होंने कहा फारिग करो। हमाद भाई मेरे हमें यही पूछ रहे हैं कि हमादुद्दीन का जो है ना, वो व्हाट डू यू गाइस थिंक अबाउट हमाद बीइंग आउट। तो ये इस पे अभी बात करते हैं। स्क्वाड देख लो, कोई स्क्वाड पढ़ लो कोई भाई।
चलें जी। बाबर आजम कैप्टन, शादाब खान वाइस कैप्टन, शर्जील, मोहम्मद हफीज, हैदर अली, दानिश अजीज, आसिफ अली, मोहम्मद नवाज, सईम अशरफ, मोहम्मद इजवान, सरफराज अहमद, मोहम्मद हसीन जूनियर, शाहीन आफरीदी, हारिस रऊफ, मोहम्मद हसनैन, हसन अली, अरशद इकबाल, उस्मान कादिर। जी सज्जाद भाई, कौन सा ऐसा नाम है जिसको देख के आपकी खुशी जो है वो छुपा रहे हैं?
यार
क्या कह रहे हैं?
21 बंदे हैं इसमें, 21 लेके कितने जाएंगे?
सभी लेके जा रहे हैं भाई, क्या मतलब?
अभी तो मेरे ख्याल में अभी तो एक तो पॉजिटिव आ गया ना इनमें से,
हसन अली
आ गया ना।
हाँ, लेकिन मुझे जो है ना बहुत ज्यादा 2 बंदों का मैं मतलब है क्या कहते हैं, मुंह में पानी आ रहा है सोच के कि ये बैटिंग करेंगे, एक शर्जील और एक हैदर अली। वो जो ये शॉटें मारते हैं ना हैदर अली के, साउथ अफ्रीका के ग्राउंडों पे बाहर जाएगी।
अगर
जो हमारे जो कैच
और दूसरी चीज, अगर लेग पे कोई फील्डर ना खड़े हुए तो
नहीं वो बाहर जाएगी, लेग वाली शॉट अब बाहर जाएगी।
चलें,
ये मेरा
वापस आए, बड़ी अच्छी बात है। चलो
बहुत अच्छी बात है।
ओडीआई स्क्वाड में देख लें जरा।
जी बाबर आजम, इमामुल हक, फखर जमान, अब्दुल्ला शफीक, हैदर अली, दानिश अजीज, सऊद शकील, फहीम अशरफ, मोहम्मद हसीन जूनियर, मोहम्मद रिजवान, सरफराज, शादाब, नवाज, शाहीन अफरीदी, हारिस रऊफ, मोहम्मद हुसैन, हसन अली और उस्मान कादिर। जी इमामुल हक और अब आप इसमें ही देख लें, ये जो शुरू के 5 नाम देख लें कितने ओपनर हैं, बाबर, इमाम, फखर, अब्दुल्ला शफीक, हैदर और मोहम्मद रिजवान। 7 ओपनर से जा रही है पाकिस्तान टीम।
अब मोहम्मद रिजवान कौन से नंबर पे खेलेगा ये बताओ यार जरा।
7वें पे
तो बेकार है ना भाई, रिजवान तो 7वें का प्लेयर है ही नहीं ना मेरी जान।
नहीं,
तो
उसको आगे रहना चाहिए।
शर्जील कहाँ खेलेगा?
शर्जील तो है ही नहीं ना इसमें।
मैं तो कह रहा हूँ उसको।
नहीं चलें फिर शर्जील, T20 में भी तो यही हिसाब होगा ना, अगर वो नहीं खेल रहा तो चलें फिर इसमें बताओ, इमामुल हक और फकर अगर ओपनिंग कर रहे हैं तो फिर बाकी लोग क्या, बाबर 1 डाउन आएगा, फिर शायद हैदर अली 2nd डाउन आए, फिर वही है ना, सऊद की और उसकी दानिश अजीज के नंबर खा गए ये लोग।
अब्दुल्ला शफीक का लग रहा है इन्होंने करियर खत्म करवाना है, क्योंकि उसको बेचारे को ऑस्ट्रेलिया में ना खेला जा रहा था, अब उसको फिर लेके जा रहे हैं।
यही खिला देते,
पता नहीं कहाँ खिला देते। चलो आगे देखें टेस्ट स्क्वाड।
बाबर आजम, आबिद अली, इमरान बट, ये अच्छी बात है, रिटेन कर रहे हैं अजहर अली, अब्दुल्ला शफीक, फवाद आलम
को क्यों ले दिया यार इसमें? चलो
कोई आए आगा सलमान, चलो इसको रिटेन किया है, फहीम अशरफ, मोहम्मद नवाज भी है, रिजवान, सरफराज अहमद, शाहीन अफरीदी, हारिस रऊफ, शुक्र, ताबिश खान जा रहा है, थैंक यू, हसन अली, शाहनवाज दानी, नुमान अली, मुझे ये बड़ी अच्छी टीम लग रही है, शाहनवाज दानी, हुसैन। जी सजाद भाई, डू यू थिंक T20 की परफॉर्मेंस, आपने एक बाउंसर मारी आपने कामरान अकमल को, उस बॉलों के ऊपर आप जरा फारूक भाई टेस्ट पे रहिएगा जरा। जी डोंट यू थिंक ये ज्यादती है? अगर आप उसको मैं कंपेयर करूं ताबिश खान से, ताबिश खान ने 575 विकेटें ली थी, यहाँ पे इन्होंने 575 बॉलें नहीं फेंकी हैं अपनी जिंदगी में, और ही इज गोना प्ले विद हिम।
नहीं खेलेगा नहीं, इसके बारे में कह रहे हैं मैक्स के, इसको लेके जा रहे हैं सिर्फ।
यार आप ताबिश को ले सकते हैं 13 साल आप ले, फारूक भाई मुझे भी पता है ये नहीं खेलेगा, 100% नहीं खेलेगा, अगले 6 पूरा साल नहीं खेलेगा, जाएगा, मैं इस पे नहीं डिनाई कर रहा हूँ, बट मैं कह रहा हूँ क्या कोई, जैसे आपने उसको लेकर आए थे, नसीम शाह को लेकर आए थे, आप देखे ना फारिग है, वेयर इज नसीम शाह, करेक्ट, आपने भी तो उसको, नसीम शाह को आपने पेस के ऊपर आप लेकर आए और आप खेल रहा। जी सजाद भाई
देखिए इसमें देखिए नसीम नहीं है, हसनैन का नाम मुझे नजर नहीं आ रहा, मूसा का नाम मुझे नजर नहीं आ रहा, ये 3 ही अभी थे ना यंग और फास्ट बॉलर्स में, ठीक है। अब ये थोड़ी सी जगह के इनको धानी को ले आए हैं और एक वसीम को ले आए। देखिए बात वही है जो जिसके ऊपर हम लोग काफी अरसे से इसके ऊपर स्ट्रेस कर रहे हैं कि यार इफ एनी पोटेंशियल और जो टैलेंट इज रिकॉग्नाइज्ड, उसको पहले ग्रूम तो कर लें। अब ये बिल्कुल आपने जो बात की है, मैक्स ने की है कि यार ताबिश एक इतना प्रूवन बंदा और अपनी एज को आ गया, उसको लास्ट ईयर सीरीज में लेके नहीं खिलाया, और अगर आप उसको भी लेके जा रहे हो इसके साथ, फॉर एग्जांपल धानी को लेके जा रहे हो, खिला देते धानी को, तो फिर इसके ऊपर जस्टिफिकेशन कैसे देंगे? बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड माजरा है।
धानी को नहीं खिलाएंगे सुल्तान भाई, उसको सिर्फ लेके जा रहे हैं एक्सपीरियंस के लिए, थोड़ा बच्चा है, मतलब है इंटीरियर से इनका, घूम लेगा थोड़ा सा।
लेकिन भाईजान पता है प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हमारी अक्सर ये स्टैट्स वगैरह को भूल जाते हैं। अगर कोई बंदा आके आपके नेट्स में उसने बाउंसर मारने शुरू कर दिए, 2-4 बंदों की जो ना पसलियों में लग गई, उन्होंने कहा आज बाजी मिल गया सानू, उन्होंने घुसा देना बीच में। मैं आपको सही बता रहा हूँ, शाहिद अफरीदी जब उसने ओपन किया था, जब उसने मैच में ओपन किया था, नोबडी इवन नो वे ही कुड बैट। वो तो अ डे और 2 बिफोर वो तो नेक्स्ट में ही स्टार्टेड हिटिंग दीज गाइस, तो उन्होंने उसको ओपनर भेजे और वहां से फिर देखें आज तक उसका कैरियर चल रहा है। तो ये पाकिस्तान की जो सिलेक्शन है ना, ये बस सीइंग एंड बिलीविंग वाली चीज पे होती
है। ये भी वही वाला हिसाब होगा जो मूसा और दूसरा जो हिसाब किताब है ना। नहीं वैसे ये लड़का, इसने पीछे हमाद भाई भी कह रहे हैं कि जानी बोल्ड वेल इन द फर्स्ट क्लास सीजन, अच्छा वो है 2-3 साल से, उसको बड़े सही बंदों ने इसको जो है ना वो ढूंढ के निकाला था वहां से, तो थोड़ा पोटेंशियल है, बाकी देखते हैं जो भी।
हाँ नहीं, ये तो धानी और जो वसीम है इसके बारे में तो पीएसएल में हमने कहा था कि बाकी दीज आर 2 बॉलर्स जो
वसीम तो आप देखो प्रॉपर चैनल से आया है, वो अंडर 19 के चैनल से आया है।
नहीं मैं वसीम की तो बात करें, देखिए वसीम वन ऑफ द दोज बॉलर्स, अगर वो ग्रूम प्रॉपर हुआ और अगर वो मेंटली स्ट्रांग हुआ लड़का, मैं आपको अभी से बता रहा हूँ, लिख के दे रहा हूँ, ही विल डू मिरेकल्स। मैंने उसको देखा, मैं एज अ फास्ट बॉलर किया है अपने सारे यूथ कैरियर में, मैं जानता हूं कि उसके अंदर बॉल में जो उसकी जो हवा में जिस तरह स्विंग करता है, जिस उसकी देखें, ये एक वाहिद बॉलर है जो आफ्टर लॉन्ग टाइम वकार वसीम के मुझे नजर आया जिसकी यॉर्कर इन स्विंग यॉर्कर डिप भी करती है। ये चीज दूसरों में नहीं मिलती थी। ये आप देखिएगा आने वाले वक्तों में अगर इसको टाइम और चांस मिलता रहा, ये बहुत आगे जाएगा।
सही है जी। तो पाकिस्तान की आई थिंक कब से है टेस्ट ये सीरीज? पहले आई थिंक वनडे है, राइट?
सेकंड अप्रैल से स्टार्ट हो रही है।
तो ये लोग जा कब रहे हैं?
अब तो क्वारंटीन का टाइम है, जल्द कल परसों निकल
जाना पड़ेगा जल्दी।
लास्ट वीक ऑफ मार्च जाना है।
तो सर ये क्वारंटीन कितना 3-4 दिन पे करेंगे?
वहां पे पता नहीं होती है। कहाँ जा रहे हैं ये लोग?
नहीं वो हर मुल्क में होती है, कम से कम हफ्ता 10 दिन तो होगी।
इंजेक्शन तो ठोक दिए,
लेकिन वो साउथ अफ्रीकन वेरिएंट पे नहीं ना चल रहा इंजेक्शन, ये भी प्रॉब्लम।
चलो खैर, वो उनका अपना मसला, कोई मसला नहीं है। लेकिन यार बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक है जो मुझे करना है, एक पूरा प्रोग्राम करना है। और वो बड़ा खास तौर पे मैसेज है उन तमाम लोगों के लिए जो कहते हैं कि जी हम लोकल क्रिकेट में नहीं बात करते। तो भाई मेरे चैंपियंस, लोकल क्रिकेट पे आ जाओ। एक बड़ा अच्छा टॉपिक आया है, एक हमारे दोस्त ने कल लिंक शेयर किया था यूएस क्रिकेट का, कि दे हैव इशूड 20,000 यूनिक आइडेंटिफाइड क्रिकेटर्स फ्रॉम ऑल ओवर द यूएसए। तो 20,000 फ्रॉम ऑल यूएसए। तो यूएसए की पॉपुलेशन कितनी है मेरे भाई, किसी को याद है?
330
मिलियन है।
330 मिलियन, माशाल्लाह। और कनाडा की पॉपुलेशन कितनी है?
38 मिलियन।
38 मिलियन। तो पूरे अमेरिका से कितने क्रिकेटर निकले? 20,000। हमारे ओंटारियो में कितने क्रिकेटर हैं सुल्तान भाई?
यार अब पता है, वो अगर लीग वाइज जाए तो आपको लगेगा कि यहाँ हर बंदा क्रिकेट खेल रहा है, लेकिन है वही।
आप फारूक भाई अब रीफ्रेश करें क्वेश्चन को कि ओंटारियो में कितने ऑलराउंडर हैं?
हम में से कौन कौन खेलता है? मैक्स, आप खेलते हो क्रिकेट? कितनी लीग्स में खेलते हो आप?
3 में तो खेल रहे हैं।
मिसागा में खेलते हो, टीएनटी में खेलते हो,
और अब स्कार्बरो में खेलेंगे।
उसका 3 में हो गए। तो आप 3 में 3 प्लेयर हो गए या 1 प्लेयर कहलाओगे?
एक प्लेयर कहलाएगा।
लेकिन लीग तो बताएगी कि मैक्स भी खेलता है। मैक्स हमारा प्लेयर है। आमिर, आप कहाँ खेलते हो?
मैं एमसीएल में खेलता हूँ और ईडीसीएल में खेलता हूँ, लेकिन अब ईडीसीएल छोड़ रहा हूँ।
तो 2 प्लेयर तो हमारे यहीं पे हो गए। सजाद भाई, आप भी खेलते हो?
हाँ जी बिल्कुल,
ठीक है ना। तो ये बड़ा जरूरी है, हमने थोड़े से बंदे अपने लगाए इस काम पे कि वो थोड़ा सा इसको आइडेंटिफाई करें, थोड़े से यूनिक प्लेयर निकालें जो काम के क्रिकेट कनाडा को करना चाहिए, क्रिकेट अंटारियो को करना चाहिए। हमारे एक साहब है, उनको बड़ा शौक है इन चीजों का, सो ही इज वर्किंग ऑन इट एंड इंशाल्लाह आई विल ट्राई माय बेस्ट टू गेट द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ एमसीएल, प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ टीएनडी, प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ Etobicoke, प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ Scarborough, president of or any representative of Hamilton, any other leagues you
एक शो के अंदर या अलग-अलग शोज करेंगे?
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to have them together, right? And will they come or no? I don't know. या एक शो में जिसमें भी आए, because this issue is pretty, हाँ ये बिल्कुल interesting होगा, because this has to be done, because on the local administrative level, political level, sports level, we are showing a big number, right?
मैं सवाल आपका सवाल का जवाब मैं इस तरह दूंगा। अगर एक यूएसए की मैनेजमेंट ने एक आर्टिकल निकाला, वो आर्टिकल वायरल हो रहा है नॉर्थ अमेरिका में, एटलीस्ट एक आर्टिकल तो निकाला, नंबर्स तो दिए एक पेज पर आकर सबने मिलकर, करेक्ट?
नहीं हम देखो, क्रिकेट इन कनाडा इज, we always say as a Canadian that is much better, that standard is better in Canada. On the scale, we are on small scale, but we are very strong team and everything. But there are few things that is about time. Things has to be done. So hopefully all the administrators who are listening to this, they have their plan. If you do have a plan, please do let us know. Our platform is open. Please do come and explain to the people.
एक प्रेसिडेंट को तो मैं जानता हूँ, वो उनको अगर आप बोलेंगे तो मैं ले आऊंगा। मैंने उनके साथ शो कर चुका हूँ, नाम नहीं ले रहा, मैं उनके साथ अपना पहला शो कर चुका हूँ।
नहीं, सारे प्रेसिडेंट वो सारे दोस्त हैं अपने,
तो आपके सारे दोस्त हैं,
बहुत सारे लोग काम कर रहे हैं। लेकिन ये कि ये इसके बारे में होते, देखो गवर्निंग अथॉरिटी कौन है ओंटारियो के अंदर? ओंटारियो क्रिकेट एसोसिएशन, राइट? दे शुड बी लुक इनटू दिस कि क्या है, नंबर्स हमें पता चलने चाहिए, क्योंकि हमारे साथ भी स्पॉन्सर पूछता है कि भाई कितने लड़के हैं, राइट? तो लीग वाइज अगर कहेंगे तो 5 हर लीग में जो भी, वो एक डिफरेंट इशू है, बट दिस इज द टॉपिक आई वांट एवरीबॉडी टू टॉक अबाउट। टुडे इज ऑलरेडी हो सकता है एक आध दिन में हम ये शो करेंगे और हम उस
जब
दिन
नंबर्स आ जाए तो अच्छी बात होगी। आई थिंक अगर आप
छोड़ दो, हम लिंक ओपन रखेंगे और जिन लोगों को जो कहते हैं कि हम इंटरनेशनल क्रिकेट पे बात नहीं करना चाहते, हमारी स्किल नहीं, आइए लोकल क्रिकेट पे बात कीजिए, क्योंकि अगर आप लोकल क्रिकेट में बात नहीं करेंगे तो फिर आप जाके सिर्फ किताबों वाली क्रिकेट खेलेंगे जैसे मैं खेलता था, है ना, नंबर खोला वो 25 जो सफा खेला वो नंबर आ गया। तो भाई अगर बातें भी करनी है तो बातें भी कर सकते हैं हम, और अगर कोई प्रैक्टिकल करना है तो प्रैक्टिकल भी कर सकते हैं हम। तो ये
अच्छा,
एक
वैसे फर्क में वाकई आपने टॉपिक तो अच्छा इंटरेस्टिंग है ये, लेकिन इसमें हम लोग बैठे हैं और कमों पे खेलते आ रहे हैं, डिफरेंट जगहों पे हर एक का एक्सपोजर है। आप एक नंबर वैसे करें, आपके ख्याल में कितना प्लेयर होगा पूरे जीटीए में?
नहीं, अभी तो मेरे पास जो टोटल नंबर है वो सिर्फ जीटीए के अंदर किसी ने 22,000 के दिए।
22,000
जी
है
जी।
22,000 रजिस्ट्रेशन होंगे, divide that by 4 assuming each player plays 4 leagues।
वो मैं यही कह रहा हूँ कि अभी हमारे पास जो एक टॉप ऑफ द हेड नंबर है वो ये है कि ये 22,000 प्लेयर्स हैं ओंटारियो के अंदर।
एक मिनट 22,000 को अगर आप 11 से मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे ना, 2,000 टीमें हैं, 2,000 क्लब्स। आप फरूक भाई थोड़ा सा देखें, मैं यही बता रहा हूँ, क्या ये नंबर रियलिस्टिक है?
नहीं, मुझे नहीं मालूम है रियलिस्टिक है, मैं यही तो मालूम करना चाह रहा हूँ कि जो लीग्स हैं वो हमें बताएंगे भाई किस तरह, क्योंकि अभी बैठे बैठे 3 प्लेयर हैं जिन्होंने बता दिया कि वो 3 लीग से खेल रहे हैं।
हाँ जी, यही सिचुएशन है।
3 लीग से। अब मैं जितने लड़के हैं, चलो हम रिजवान चीमा को ले लेते हैं, रिजवान चीमा कम से कम 6 लीग से खेलता है डिफरेंट, ठीक है, तो रिजवान चीमा तो एक ही है ना भाई।
बिल्कुल,
वो एक दिन मैच खेल रहा होता है।
मेरे ख्याल में अल्लाह करे ऐसा ना हो, अल्लाह करे कि बहुत ज्यादा हो, और बाकी लेकिन एक चीज तो वाज़ेह है कि एवरी ईयर बढ़ जरूर रहा है नंबर, ये बहुत सिग्निफिकेंटली बढ़ रहा है। एवरी ईयर बहुत सी टीमें आ रही हैं इवन के, अब इसीलिए देखें इतनी स्ट्रेच हो रही है, बहुत सी लीग बहुत दूर तक जा रही है, बहुत आउटस्कर्ट्स में जो सिटीज हैं उसके ऊपर भी ग्राउंड बन रहे हैं और एक्सेस हो रहा है जहाँ की जो
मैं सॉरी आपको थोड़ा सा स्टॉप करूंगा। मैं ये चाह रहा हूँ, हमारे पास तो ये माइक भी है और हम तो जब दिल चाहता है बोलते रहते हैं।
सही बात।
वी वांट के जितने लोग हैं जो क्रिकेट लवर हैं, जो क्रिकेट खेल रहे हैं, हम चाहते हैं वो आए और हम ओपन लिंक देंगे, यहाँ पे आए, बताएं कि वो क्या चाहते हैं, क्या हो करना चाहते हैं लोकल क्रिकेट के बारे में, ठीक है ना। तो इंशाल्लाह ताला एक आध दिन में प्रोग्राम डालते हैं, मजा आएगा इसके ऊपर, बाकी चीजों के साथ साथ, क्योंकि लोकल क्रिकेट मेरे ख्याल में थोड़ी नेग्लेक्ट हो गई। हम लोग लगे रहे पीएसएल में, इंग्लैंड, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, श्रीलंका, ये वो, तो लोकल हमारा क्या बेस जो हमारा जो है वो तो लोकल ही है ना भाई। हम एक जो है वो क्या नाम है इसका, विडबी लीग में भी बंदों ने टीम डाल दी है।
मैंने यही बताने के लिए थोड़ा सा मैं नहीं मैं ये छोड़ दें फालतू की प्रमोशन हो जाएगी, बट आपने करी दी है। बट यू आर राइट के फरूक भाई ग्रो कर रही है माशाल्लाह। टोरंटो में, ओंटारियो में क्रिकेट ग्रो कर रही है, टोरंटो में क्रिकेट ग्रो कर रही है। इवन ईस्ट एंड में हम लोग को बहुत अच्छा रिस्पांस आया है। हमने छोटी सी टीम बनाने की कोशिश करी थी, लेकिन बहुत अच्छा रिस्पांस आ गया है कि एक ज्यादा टीम बनने लग रही है। तो इट्स जैसे सुल्तान भाई ने कहा कि नंबर ग्रो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन अगर 22,000 है, मैं बिलीव नहीं करता, 20,000 बिलीव नहीं करता। ये नंबर शुड नॉट बी क्रॉसिंग 2,000 इन कनाडा, ट्रस्ट मी। जो खेलने वाले पर वो तो फिर आप हर्षा मेहता के बच्चे को भी डाल देना
भाई। मैं तो कुछ भी नहीं कह रहा, मैं तो कह रहा हूँ कि एक प्रोसेस होना चाहिए। यूएस क्रिकेट ने कहा है कि भाई हमने ये आइडेंटिफाई किए लोग जो क्रिकेट खेलते हैं, जो रजिस्ट्रेशन इनकी है, हम कह रहे हैं कनाडा में भी होना चाहिए।
हाँ नहीं, अच्छा वो रजिस्ट्रेशन, अच्छा मेरे ख्याल है वो स्टैट्स रजिस्ट्रेशन बेस्ड होंगे, और उसका ये भी जानना जरूरी होगा कि कितने साल से रजिस्ट्रेशन कंसिडर की गई है। अगर 1950 से रजिस्ट्रेशन कंसिडर करके आ रहे हैं तो जाहिर सी बात है वो एक्टिव कितने हैं वो एक अलग स्टैट्स भरना चाहिए।
तो भाई आप भी सिस्टम के अंदर रहे हो, सजादी आप भी, अगर आप क्लब एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर रहे हो, पहले एक आजकल तो मोस्टली क्रिकेट क्लब पे लोग चला रहे हैं, उससे पहले भी एक होता था क्रिकेट स्टार के नाम से। उसके अंदर भी प्लेयर जो होते थे, वो एक सैमन होता था बंदा जो चला गया, बड़ा जबरदस्त सैमन ली या क्या नाम था उसका। उसमें ये होता था कि आप एक्टिव और नॉन एक्टिव प्लेयर होते थे, तो आप अपने पास 16 या 18 से ज्यादा एक्टिव प्लेयर रख नहीं सकते थे एक साल के अंदर।
ओह अच्छा
जी, तो ये एक कैप होता है मुख्तलिफ कैटेगरी। तो ये बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक है। वी वांट टू थोड़ा सा मेरे ख्याल में ना इसमें मजा आएगा, इसमें कुछ बातें करनी
नंबर्स
चाहिए।
आ जाए ना, अगर हम लोग कोई भी रिसर्च कर ले, नंबर्स अगर आ जाए, देन आई थिंक दैट विल बी मोर कॉन्क्रीट डिस्कशन।
लेकिन हम जो भी नंबर दें ना वो ऑफिशियल नहीं होंगे।
नहीं, लेकिन मैं आपको बताता हूँ, डग फोर्ड को ईमेल करता हूँ कि कोविड के नंबर नहीं चाहिए, क्रिकेट के नंबर चाहिए।
डग फोर्ड तो बल्ला लेके तैयार हो जाएगा भाई, वो तो।
अच्छा फरूक भाई आप बताइए, फरूक भाई मैं अगेन आपका काउंटर आंसर यहीं पे दे रहा हूँ। आपने माशाल्लाह आपने एक मेहनत करी, आपने 5 जो भी नाम लिए थे एसोसिएशन, इन सबके आपके प्रेसिडेंट को भी लिया है, ये लोग नंबर भी ले आएंगे। अगेन एक बंदा बोल रहा होगा मेरे 3000, देन अगेन इट्स गोना, ये जो अभी जैसे सुल्तान भाई ने बोला ना कि एड अप हो रही होंगी, तो वो भी क्या नंबर बिलीवेबल होंगे? आई
यार
डोंट
बहुत
थिंक।
आसान हो गया, देखो मोस्टली अब मैं नाम नहीं लूंगा, लेकिन सर्टन वेबसाइट्स हैं जिसमें प्लेयर रजिस्ट्रेशन है इस वक्त, ठीक है। जब आप जाके सर्च करोगे तो आपको पता चल जाएगा कि एक प्लेयर कितनी लीग्स में खेल रहा है, ठीक है ना, क्योंकि वो मर्ज करते हैं। जो एक यहाँ पे जो एसोसिएशन है, हम उसका बल्कि मैं उस बंदे को ले आऊंगा, उनकी जो एसोसिएशन का
आई
जो
थिंक वो बेटर है।
हाँ
हाँ वो अगर लिया है ना, जो ये बंदा डाटा
हाँ,
इंटीग्रेट
नहीं
कर रहा है।
डायरेक्टर नहीं बंदा, वो जो उस वेबसाइट की
जी
का जो
बिल्कुल।
कंपनी का बंदा है, हम उसको ले आएंगे।
हाँ
उससे पूछने के लिए हमें, वी आर नॉट अगेंस्ट एनी एसोसिएशन और एनीथिंग कि चल क्या रहा है इसके अंदर। आई थिंक इट विल बी इंटरेस्टिंग कपल ऑफ एपिसोड्स, वी विल बी,
सही है।
इट विल बी
मैं बोलूंगा बिल्कुल इन एपिसोड्स के सारे लीगल मैटर्स जो हैं वो एमडब्ल्यूएफ को प्रोजेक्ट देते हैं।
अगर
अंदर
भाई
मसले
हम
आपको
तो
मिल जाएंगे।
बेकार सू होंगे तो हमें ख्याल करें एमडब्ल्यू हमें।
हाँ, मैं पहले से आपको कह रहा हूँ कि
हाँ।
आपने एमडब्ल्यूएफ को ले लें पहले ही।
हमने ये लगा देना है कि ऑल लीगल इंक्वायरीज प्लीज कांटेक्ट एमडब्ल्यूएफ।
शुक्र है कोई कमेंट नहीं आया वेयर इज एमडब्ल्यूएफ।
एमडब्ल्यूएफ खुद के शुरू में मौजूद थे, वो
शुरू में मौजूद थे।
वैसे आज कोई कमेंट्स की तरफ जिक्र हो रहा, तो देख ले किसी ने कोई कमेंट दिया हो।
नहीं किसी ने,
नहीं एक किया है, एक बंदे ने कमेंट दिया था, वो उसी का बंदा है, वो क्या नाम है उसका, सैफ रिजवान। ये रहा कमेंट, वो लगता है सोते जागते ही बोलता रहता है तो मैं क्या बोलूं।
वैसे बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आप लोगों का कि आपने इंडिविजुअली आके मुलाकात की मुझसे स्टूडियो में अलग अलग टाइम पे, और बड़ा अच्छा टाइम रहा। ये शर्ट्स आप लोग लेके गए, तो इंशाल्लाह ताला जो है वो पिक्चर्स हमारी जो आप लोगों की खींची गई हैं, वो जब भी हमें हमारे फोटोग्राफर्स आपने दी, तो उन पे इंशाल्लाह ताला हम उसको पब्लिश करेंगे। और
थैंक यू फॉर दिस अमेजिंग मग, दिस वाज एब्सोल्युटली सो गुड। एवरीबॉडी हु सीन इन माय फैमिली आई रियली अप्रिशिएट।
थैंक यू फॉर द शर्ट, बड़ी अच्छी शर्ट आप लोगों ने बनवाई, उसमें मैं पतला लग रहा हूँ, मैं बड़ा खुश हूँ।
क्या बात है, क्या बात है। नहीं थैंक यू वेरी मच एवरीबॉडी। चलो यार भाई, एक 12 हो गए मैक्स भाई।
जी गाइस चलें भाई, शो का इख्तिताम करते हैं अपने स्टाइल से। बड़ा दिनों के बाद हमने शो किया है। शुक्रिया फरूक भाई, शुक्रिया सुल्तान भाई, शुक्रिया सज्जाद भाई एंड आमिर, थैंक यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग फॉर दिस शो। डेफिनेटली कोशिश करेंगे वीकेंड के ऊपर एक और कोई शो किया जाए अगले 3-4 दिन के अंदर, कि अगर इंग्लैंड और इंडिया की सीरीज भी देख लें, कुछ पाकिस्तानी सिलेक्शन के ऊपर ही बात की जाए। और तीसरा टॉपिक जैसे फरूक भाई ने मेंशन किया है कि क्रिकेट कनाडा, लाइक क्या हो रहा है लोकल क्रिकेट, नॉट क्रिकेट कनाडा, लोकल क्रिकेट में क्या हो रहा है। डेफिनेटली यंगस्टर्स को पता होना चाहिए, बिकॉज अगर उनको कनाडा क्रिकेट खेलनी है तो दे शुड नो कि व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन देयर सर्किट। तो गाइस आई थिंक अच्छा लगा शो करके, बड़े दिनों के बाद लंबी डिस्कशन हुई है क्रिकेट के ऊपर। अच्छे अभी भी मैं पेस नहीं पिक कर पाया हूँ, तो डेफिनेटली होपफुली नेक्स्ट कपल ऑफ डेज में मैं अपने पेस पिक कर पाऊंगा। तो मेरे ख्याल से फरूक भाई एंड चला दें और फिर थैंक यू कह दें। फरूक भाई सम अप कर दें। चलें जी, देखने वालों को सलाम, कोई बात बुरी लगी हो तो सॉरी।
Crispy Foods Sherban Juice, Evital IP Solutions in association with Faisal Law Corporation, R6 Sports, Realtor Fahad Rao, with the support of M. Remy's of